Today we are taking a look at the Logitech G910 Orion Spectrum. It is an RGB mechanical gaming keyboard that uses Logitech's proprietary Romer G switches. But is it any good? Stick around and find out. Some time ago all you had to do to make a gamer keyboard was that you added lighting to a membrane keyboard, but these days the situation is drastically different. These days gamers expect mechanical keyboards with RGB lighting with 16.8 million colors, and for the most part on keyboards above 120 euros you do get that. But what does the G910 Orion Spectrum bring to the table that justifies its high asking price of 200 euros? Maybe it's the switches. Logitech's decision not to use the golden standard in their top-of-the-line mechanical gaming keyboard is surprising to say the least. But then again, Cherry MX switches never were meant for gaming, and neither were they made with lighting in mind. Therefore Logitech, or maybe it's better to say Omron, that is producing the Romer G switches for Logitech, did quite a lot in its design. It uses 7 individual parts. The switch has a spring inside, dual contacts to register the actuation so that if one doesn't register, the secondary one actually will. And that is the standard Japanese thinking, so redundancy in place of hardcore precision. Also, a landing pad is added to soften the bottoming out of key presses. While the design has a shorter travel distance, a high actuation point of just 1.5 mm and an actuation force of 45 grams, making them about 25% faster when compared to Cherry MX's. But sadly you won't be able to swap keycaps with Cherry MX compatible ones. But then again, that was the problem only with the previous version of the G910 that used these square type keys in its design that were heavily criticized by almost every tech reviewer out there. The change, although hard to describe, is paramount to our experience of using the G910, as now it feels soft but responsive, quiet and satisfying to type on, everything that the previous Spark version did not, as we were always focused on the weird shape of the keycaps. Thumbs up to Logitech for listening to the community and implementing the changes when they saw that they didn't work as planned. Moving onwards from the keys to the layout. Right off the bat it has to be said that the G910 is a large keyboard, as it takes up about 1.5 times as much space as a normal 104 key mechanical keyboard. The additional space is taken up by dedicated media control buttons and lighting control buttons, as well as a volume knob, the ARX dock that enables us to position our smartphone onto the G910 and use it to monitor our system, as well as use it for normal activities. Besides that, there is 9 dedicated G buttons, so programmable macro buttons that are hardcore mechanical keys instead of these mushy feeling membrane keys that are often integrated onto otherwise mechanical keyboards. They can be extended to 36 functionalities using the modular keys in the top left corner of the keyboard, so effectively quadrupling the number of dedicated macros on the device, so it's perfect for MMO players or maybe script kiddies, if you know what I mean. Additional desk space is also taken up by the wrist rest that is removable, although we didn't get an additional one in our review sample unit as we did with the previous version of the G910. I don't know, maybe that's just us. The rugged exterior is continued onto the connector cable that we have no doubt will last a long time, even with some tough love applied to it. Maybe we would have liked to see it be a little bit thinner, especially given that there is no ports for expansion such as audio pass-through and USB pass-through on the device, and it could additionally be braided such as the G Pro mouse that we have reviewed before. I guess it's an older design and they didn't really think about braiding back then. Moving onwards to the underside of the unit, the design is still futuristic and rugged aggressive styling that is to my liking, yes, but still it doesn't skimp on functionality as the rubber pads that keep the keyboard in place are large enough and they never presented a problem on our totally normal everyday standard table. The G910 is also height adjustable with some flaps, although there is only one setting, so your satisfaction level may vary. Okay, 4.5 minutes in and we still haven't talked about the most striking feature of the G910. It's illumination. It is, as its previous revision, very bright, even, and works perfectly. Maybe we would like to see it be a little bit more customizable, such as the K90 or K70 from Corsair, or the Chroma Elite from Razer, but Logitech has always been a little bit more restrictive and didn't allow as much customization as other manufacturers otherwise have. That enabled them to deliver more consistent results as far as the user experience goes, but on the other hand they probably dissuaded that tinkering and modding part of the market. To me, I like my things to work and look quite nice without having to put much effort in it, and therefore the G910 is quite fine. Sadly, that can't be said about its value proposition as we come into the conclusion of this review. For 200 euros, yes, I truly understand Logitech's perspective as they had to develop their own custom mechanical switch and the R&D costs money. And I also understand that Logitech is a market leader that sponsors lots of premier esports teams, and that as well costs money. But for it to cost 200 euros when it doesn't even offer any advanced functionalities, except for the RGB lighting of course, that just seems a bit cheap to me from Logitech. Thanks for watching this review on Discharge Networks. Don't forget to comment and subscribe to see more videos like this in the future.